Hi, eighth grade. This is Mrs. Martin. I am here for your first book talk of your eighth grade year and excited to be doing so. I know that doing one as a video is not quite the same as in person, but I hope that you'll be able to go back and pause and maybe even write some things down if necessary. The library, of course, is not open in the same way that it has been our last couple years of school. But for the time being, we are excited to be offering to you the opportunity to put books on hold using your iPad. And I hope that you've already had a chance to watch that video in class or at home. If you have not yet done so, it is available on the library homepage under your cohort, and it's under a resources link there on the homepage. So if you have any questions about how to place a book on hold, it's a really easy process, and you can reach out to me on Schoology if you have questions. Otherwise, we're going to jump into our book talk for the month of October. Just like always, my slides are going to have on here the book title and author and the cover of the book so that you know what it looks like, as well as the genre. So the first one I'm sharing might already be familiar to you, but if it isn't, I wanted to be sure and highlight it today, especially because we now have the graphic novel of this book, and that might be a brand new thing to you. I know I have a lot of students excited about that. The Crossover by Kwame Alexander is the story of twin brothers, Josh and Jordan Bell, both basketball players. They share a love of basketball, and really they've shared a love of a lot of things. They get along really well, have a lot of similarities, and a lot of things that the two of them enjoy doing together. But they find themselves drifting apart as they're heading into this next year of school. They're discovering that there's a girl causing some conflict between them, and so that's part of the problem, and that's new to them because it hasn't been an issue before. They're also, as they're growing up, kind of both on and off the court, discovering that when you break a rule, that can often come at a pretty big price. And these two boys are struggling with some real life issues, big things that aren't just about playing ball, but about life choices too. The story has a big twist about middle of the way through that is, I think, just a great one to read. It changes the direction of the story, has terrific characters, and it's written in the free verse style that Kwame Alexander is so well known for, which makes it a quick read. And especially if you are an athlete yourself, I just know you're going to love the action of this book. The Crossover by Kwame Alexander. Again, we have it both as the novel and now as the graphic novel as well. Since it is October, I am sharing a couple of, spooky, eerie, creepy kinds of stories, and this one has been popular in the library. The Collector by K.R. Alexander in the mystery section. Josie has always enjoyed visiting her grandma in the country, but when her mom loses her job in the city and they are forced to now, along with Josie's sister Annie, go spend some time with her grandma long term, right? They're not going to just go for a short visit, but it's looking like they're going to live with their grandma for quite a while. She realizes she doesn't really like the country that much. Let's take a look at a book trailer to learn more about this story.
When we moved in with Grandma Jeannie, something just didn't feel right. And she had these rules. 1, never leave your windows open after dark. 2, no dolls in the house. And 3, never, ever go near the house in the woods. Josie. Look for the Collector at your scholastic book fair. It's looking for you.
Ooh, gives me the creeps. This book, along with others by the same author, is in our mystery section, and you could check this one out. Or you could look up the author's name for other creepy mystery stories, just the kind that'll make the hairs on your arm stand on end. Perfect for this time of year. Our next one's in the adventure section by Allie Carter, Not If I Save You First. There's a little romance to this book, I'll give you a fair warning, but it's mostly an adventure and it's mostly about best friends who have decided they feel pretty differently about each other. Maddie thought that she and Logan were going to be friends forever. They basically lived together all the time because Maddie's dad was the Secret Service agent for the President of the United States, and Logan's dad was the president. And so they spent, pretty much every waking moment together with their dads working so closely. However, due to a huge event that occurs in the opening chapter, Maddie's dad is suddenly dragging her to a cabin in the middle of the Alaskan wilderness to keep her safe. And she's torn away from Logan, no phone, no internet. I mean, they are out in the middle of nowhere. And as a result, there's not a single word from Logan. And at first, Maddie tells herself that's okay, right? It all happened fast. They have to be safe. It's really important. And then more and more time goes by, and she doesn't hear from Logan, and she's trying to reach out to him, and there's nothing, right? Like radio silence. Well, then Logan shows up 6 years later, and by this time, Maddie's so angry, she wants to kill him. But before that can happen, someone, an assailant, appears out of nowhere, trying to knock Maddie off of a cliff, and is dragging Logan off to some unknown place. Right? They're in a very dangerous life or death situation, and Maddie realizes she could get out of there herself and let Logan be taken. She's not going to do that. She still really wants to kill Logan, but she has to save him first. She's got to do the right thing here. So this story, it's an adventure, it's suspenseful, but there is almost that humorous part to it, the fact that they have had this long-standing friendship, but she's really ticked off at him, right? I mean, she hasn't heard from him for forever, and she wants to know why, and she wants that revenge. So it's got that friendship kind of relationship element to it. If that book sounds good to you, you should take a look at Not If I Save You First. And speaking of a book that has some humor, this is not a scary zombie story. This is a more silly type of a book. It's called Never Slow Dance with a Zombie by Eric Van Loo. This book is about a girl and her best friend who are just entering high school. And they, at the end of middle school, sort of wrote out this plan for themselves about how high school was going to go, right? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to make this kind of grades, and we're going to have these kinds of friends, and we're going to be part of these sorts of activities. We're going to be this popular, and we're going to have boyfriends, and blah, 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 blah. Well, none of that really happened, right? We set these goals for ourselves. We make all these plans, and it just didn't happen for them. And fast forward 3 years, and they're now seniors in high school. And they're looking back on their high school career and thinking, well, none of that actually worked out. And now there are zombies in their high school because most of the students at their high school in their senior class, actually all the classes, I guess, have turned into zombies. Margot and her friend Sybil are not two of those zombies. They happen to be just fine. But their principal has an idea about how the students who aren't the zombies are going to survive. The principal has 3 rules, basically. Walk slowly, because zombies won't attack other zombies. Don't travel alone, so, always travel in a group. And if a zombie does attack, don't run. In fact, throw like raw meat at it. And, the zombie will love that idea. So this is a really kind of a funny book, this idea that these girls now are thinking, great, we finally are going to get this chance to be everything we wanted to be in high school. We can get boyfriends. We can be popular because everybody else is a zombie. Everything can turn out great for us in our final year of school. Find out what happens in this book and how they survive the zombie uprising in their senior year. Take a look at this one. Like I said, not a creepy book, but I thought it was appropriate in October nonetheless. Another one that just might be plain fun, a graphic novel to consider, the DC Comics Secret Hero Society. I think these covers are a little bit young looking, but they're just great stories anyway. And if you are someone who is a superhero fan in any way, shape, or form, and gosh, who isn't, take a look at these books. This is the first book in the series. It's about Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman, as you can see here, but it's about them being in middle school. And they're at a middle school that's for gifted kids. They are there because they, duh, have these super abilities, right? They're extraordinary in some way. And they are at this school, but they learn that they're there for a reason. Everybody there has all these extraordinary abilities, super smarts, and it seems like those who do bad things, like villains, are being rewarded for doing the bad stuff. So these three together decide, this would be Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent and Diana Prince. They decide they're going to team up together and they're going to form this little detective agency and figure out what exactly the faculty, the adults of this school are up to. Why are they getting all these kids together? Why have they all been invited to be a part of this school? And there must be some ulterior motive. In other words, there must be a reason that all these kids have been invited to be there because it's not just a school for gifted kids. There's definitely more to it than that. Take a look if superheroes and DC Comics in particular are something you'd like to read a little bit more about. This graphic novel series could be really, really fun. The last thing I wanted to mention before I kind of wrap up my talk here is that we have our Mac and Via app still on your iPad. This is great because if you're not in school on a given day, but you're looking for something to read, you may wish to download something on that app and therefore either download it to your iPad and read it, or in this case, listen to it. I'm going to talk a little bit about Look Both Ways by Jason Reynolds. He's the same author who has written all kinds of fantastic books like the Ghost Track series, The Boy in the Black Suit. He's written Long Way Down, which just today came out as a graphic novel. Anyway, this book, Look Both Ways, is a tale told in 10 blocks. And it's a story where Jason Reynolds is imagining all the different directions that a walk home from school can take. Right? That bell rings at the end of the day and all the different things that can happen. And the story is, according to Jason, talking about everything from boogers to stealing, skateboarding to wiping out, braving up to complicated handshakes. And I want to show you that, you could go to the app, of course, on your iPad, and it just looks like this icon on your iPad. You can also go through our Library Media Center homepage, and I'm going to show you real quickly how I found this audiobook. Whoops, if I can click on the right link here. So most of the books that I talked about today, you could go here, our library catalog. You could click there, you could log in, you could place a book on hold. This last one I'm showing you, Look Both Ways, I'm going through our ebooks on Mac and Via. You want to be sure that you are logged in under Valley Middle School of Apple Valley. Now you'll see my computer automatically logged me in with my name and password. For students, a reminder that your username is your student ID number and your password is your collab password. From here, Mac and Via is going to bring you to our collection of ebooks and audiobooks. Again, all of these get downloaded directly to your iPad. If you see that a book that looks interesting has one of these little red circles in the bottom right corner, that does mean the book is currently checked out, but you can place a request on that book and then you'll receive an email later when that book becomes available. To find the book that I wanted to show you today, I went over here on the left side and clicked on audiobooks. So these are books that you can plug in your headphones or earbuds to your iPad and listen to. You can see a number of them are checked out right now, but a number of them are not. And we have 424 audiobooks right now in the system. And I kept on going. I just kind of wanted to find one that I wanted to share with you today. Now I could spend some time, obviously looking at more of these titles, but I really kept pressing load more, because I wanted to find one that I thought would be perfect for 8th grade readers. And I also wanted to find a book that was relatively new, which brought me to the one that I'm sharing with you today. So here's this look both ways right here. You'll see when I hover over it, it gives me a couple of options. One is to listen now, which I could go ahead and do. I could also check out. And if I press check out, that does mean I'm going to be the only one able to listen to that book until I return it. Now, the system will return it automatically within 21 days or 3 weeks. I only want to press check out if I'm certain I'm going to be doing the listening to that book. I don't want to hang on to this book unless I'm going to listen to it. I don't want to keep it from anybody else. Another thing I can do is press this heart, which just means it makes it a favorite. And I later can go back and look at those favorites to see, maybe I'm reading something else right now and I just want to go back later and look at those. I also can click on this I for more information. And here it just tells me a little bit about the book. There are so many ways for you to get a great book to read. I know that coming down to the library and looking on the shelves yourself would be a terrific thing to do as you've done in years past. We'll hope at some point we're able to do that again. In the meantime, here are some helpful tips. You can visit our homepage for resources, for information on new books, and updates on what's going on in the library. You can contact me or Mrs. Kump in Schoology. You can stop down to the LMC if you have a question. I'd also recommend that you not only search the catalog for favorite authors or genres, but you also ask friends for recommendations. If they're reading something great, ask them what it is. Keep track of book titles that you want to request later in case a book is already checked out. Last but not least, if you are placing any books on hold, please do wait for the Schoology message before stopping down to the LMC. I know that the system automatically tells you that your book is available. All that means is that the book is available on the shelf. We do need to give Mrs. Kump a little bit of time. She's been really quick. She's not a wizard, but she is really fast. So just give her, between usually 15 and 20 minutes. She is usually able to grab the book for you and get it checked out. And then she'll send you a message on Schoology to let you know it is ready for you to come and pick up. As always, if you have any questions, let us know either on Schoology or by stopping down to the library. And in the meantime, happy reading.